Hey, good morning. I'm going to wait for a few more people to join, and then we will get started with the most must-see live on all of finance TikTok. If you're going to be staying here for a second, hit that screen a whole bunch of times, especially early on in the live. It says more likes can attract more viewers. Keep it up. You don't see that. I see that's on my side. But if you smack that screen 20 or 30 times as quickly as you can, just for the first couple of minutes of the live, it does bring in a lot of traffic. And I see. Love your Papa John's TikTok. Thank you. I love Papa John's too. And I love stuffed crust. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to join. And then once everyone piles in, we will start. So come prepared with your investing questions. I know a lot of people in the past have asked if IULs are a scam. Bitcoin, I love. IULs are something life. I can't even remember what it stands for. Index Universal Life. Usually it's a fund that allows you to be your own bank. It's all bullshit. You pay a humongous fee for them basically to put your money into an index fund. It's a gimmick. And if you type in on Google, is IUL or are IULs, the first questions that are going to pop up are going to be the preset questions are going to be like, is it a scam? Is it a bad investment? Yes. Real question, stuffed crust is best at which pizzeria? You know, honestly, I think it's Papa John's. They've got it cornered. I mean, there's not a lot of pizza places that have stuffed crust, at least that I know of. I live in Washington, D.C., and there wasn't really any place that had stuffed crust until Papa John's brought it back. Chris says NVDA stock split. Yes, I think soon. I don't know when. Obviously, everyone is just guessing. Companies don't announce it until it's official. It's usually done by the board of directors will make a decision to split the stock or not. And it's usually done when the stock gets to be too expensive for average retail investors. And people always say like, oh, fractional shares exist, so there's really no reason to split the stock. But you think about it. The stock is $822. If you're putting in $100 every month, it's going to take you roughly 8 months to just get one share. If they split the stock and it goes to $80 a share and you had $100, you can get a share per month. You're going to accumulate shares way faster, number one. Number two, it's something for the employees as well. It's called the Employee Stock Purchase Plan, and it allows them to set aside a portion of their paycheck every month to invest in the company where they work. I'm not talking about executives and CEOs and shit like that. I'm talking about the employees, like from the ground up employees, like not executives. If they're putting $200 or $300 from their paycheck in every month, they're not getting a share either. So it benefits kind of everybody, and it benefits visually. It looks cheaper and it looks more affordable to investors who look at it and go, I'm not spending $800 on one share here. So I like splits. I think NVIDIA will hit probably 1,000 and then they'll start talking about a split. Can you look at QQQI? I'd really appreciate it. Yes, QQQI is new. So there's not really a lot of information yet about them. I think they went public on January 29th and it's March 3rd. So it's a brand new fund. It is a NASDAQ 100 covered call ETF. So they're basically selling covered calls against the NASDAQ 100, which would be like QQQ or QQQM, are index funds that track that, like an S&P 500 index fund just for the NASDAQ 100. Their expense ratio is 0.68, which means if you have $10,000 invested, your fees are around $68. By the way, and their dividend is currently... it's still too soon to say. It says that it's currently 1.16%. Because it's such a new fund, everything will change once this fund starts to pick up some more momentum. So I would say in probably 2 or 3 months after they've had some consistent time to sell covered calls, then we'll get a better sense of what their dividend will be like. By the way, for everyone who's new in here, there's 370 people in here right now. There were 600 a minute ago. This is live. People always say, oh, you're not answering my question. It must be a recorded live or an old live that I'm reposting. It's not. This is real in real time. There are lots of people in here. Sunday morning is the busiest show. Last Sunday, there were 16,000 people in this live. That is an insane amount of people. And I try to answer everyone's question, but I don't always get to you. What do you think about Bitcoin? I like Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin. I think it'll be fine long term. David N., thank you for sharing the live. What would you recommend to invest right now? I don't give financial advice, so I'm not going to answer that question. If you're a new investor, though, the best place to start, I would think, would be an S&P 500 index fund. Is it better to sell your stock and pay off a 6% mortgage loan? No, I don't think so. I mean, unless you're in dire straits and you absolutely have to sell your stock to pay off your mortgage, your investments are for the long term. They're not to cover mortgage payments and stuff like that, unless you're absolutely desperate. What would you recommend to invest in right now? I think an S&P 500 index fund is a good place for most investors to consider starting. I can't give financial advice, so I can't tell you to do it. But new investors always come in with the wrong approach, which is I want to get rich really fast. They never think about long-term investing. So you got to think long-term first, and then you can do the fun stuff. Do you make any money off the Dell earnings call? No, because I don't own Dell stock. Which brokerage do you use? I use TD Ameritrade, which is switching for me finally to Schwab. Schwab bought Ameritrade last year, and a lot of people started having their accounts transferred right away. Because I am an active stock trader, my account was the last one to go. I think it's 68 days now until it switches over. Costco is looking good for the next 10 years. I agree. I don't really care. Will is saying Nancy is at it again with PNW or Palo Alto. I don't really care what Nancy is buying. I don't really concern myself too much with what politicians or billionaires are doing with their money. I'm worried about myself. Some people like to look at it like a sign or a clue, like she knows something. Maybe so, maybe not. Doesn't really matter to me. You have to look at the stock individually on your own and do your own research on Palo Alto and make a determination if it's best for you. Back Again says moving to Canada. Okay. How much have you made? A lot. What do you think about REITs? I love REITs. I have an entire playlist on them. So when you leave this live, go on my homepage and scroll for a while because I got a lot of playlists, but there is one on REITs. Corrupt says I made $3,000 off my McDonald's shares. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. King Midas was saying, which brokerage do you use? I like TD Ameritrade, and I've heard some people say that the Schwab website really, really sucks. So that kind of is depressing. The Schwab website isn't as good as TD Ameritrade's, is what I've heard. I'm not going to switch. I'm going to stay with Schwab because I'm an active trader and I use Thinkorswim. But if I was not a trader and I didn't like the website, I would probably go with another website like a BBAE brokerage account or Fidelity, something like that. Back Again says, I'm cashing out my 401k. I'm done. That's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear it. Kiki says, trustworthy, honest finance content. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is PayPal a good stock? I think PayPal will be fine. However, you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of competition now in this space. And it reminds me sort of like Tesla, where at the beginning there was like the one. It was like PayPal or Square or whatever was like the first one. And they cornered the market and they were like, we're the one. Now, cornering the market when you're new is good because you get that customer loyalty. People prefer it, they use it, they've had it for the longest, whatever. But other ones start popping up and young people start getting on these apps and they start going, well, I'm not going to go to PayPal, I'll use Cash App or I'll use Zelle or I'll use this one. So eventually it can shift. PayPal was dominant, now there's Square. Apple has a payment system, where you can send stuff like that. So I think they're good, but I don't know if they're going to be as volatile as they used to be. PayPal, if you look at it, over the last 5 years, it's just been going down steadily. It's down 38% in 5 years. Last year, it's down 18%. This year, it's down 1%. I don't know if it's a stock I would go near personally. No opinion on Bitcoin. Yes, I gave you my opinion. I like it. I mean, I don't know what more of an opinion I could have. I like Bitcoin. I invest in Bitcoin. I'm holding my Bitcoin forever, probably. Like, I don't foresee selling it at any point. By the way, for everyone who's new here, I'm going to fix my tripod first, and then I'm going to answer all of your stock trading questions, as many as I can in the hour that I'm live. I read the comments all the way to the bottom, and then it says 90 new comments, and I go back up to I start at the bottom, and I go all the way until I get to the previous question that I had answered, and then we do it all over again. So you don't have to spam the chat. Please don't leave 30 comments in a row. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I will get to everybody. Marcel says stock splits is just to get in retail before they dump it. That's not always true. Tesla has done multiple splits over the years, and it kept going back up. Apple has done multiple splits over the years, and it kept going back up. There's proof to the contrary of what you said. It's not always some like scam to dump and get retail investors in and then crash the stock for profits. BLK is BlackRock. I see this from ASA. It is $814 a share. It's up 19% last year. This year it's up 0.37%. In the last decade, it's up 162%, and in the last 5 years, it's up 83%. They pay a dividend of 2.5%, which is pretty standard, and they've got some pretty decent growth as well. It's up 162%. They're an assets management financial custody bank, and their grades are fantastic. Valuation is a D minus, so it's a little overvalued. But sometimes people don't care about that. Growth is a B, profitability is an A, momentum is a B, revisions is an A minus. They have a dividend safety grade of A plus. That's the highest grade you can get. And there are not a lot of companies that have a dividend safety grade of A plus. But BlackRock does. So I'm going to be writing this on my little notes here. BOK div grade, because I'll make videos from time to time, and I'll reference like, here are 5 high A plus dividend safety grades. They've also grown their dividend 10.7% in the last 5 years, and they've got 14 years of dividend growth as well. Their 1 year price target is $898, which is 10% upside from here. There are 16 analysts covering it, 9 buys, 9 strong buys, 4 buys, 3 holds, no sells. I'm working my way to the bottom, and then I'll go back up to the top. Let's see what we got here. Can you give me your thoughts on Verizon and their new dividend? What's new about it? Verizon's always had a dividend, unless they cut it or something. No. Verizon's dividend is 6.62%. It's one of the higher individual stocks that has a really high dividend. They have a dividend safety grade of C+. A few days ago, it was B-, so something must have changed. They've got 19 years of dividend growth. The profitability is A+, growth is D-. It's a relatively solid company, even though it's gone down a lot over the last decade. It seems to have finally turned a corner. It's up 6% year to date. In the last month, it's down 4%, but in the last 5 years, it's down 30%. In the last 10 years, it's down 14%. But it's, they've got a strong customer base. Whether they're loyal customers and they love Verizon is kind of irrelevant. If it's the fastest, or it's the only one in your area, or it's what your business uses, blah, 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 they've got that built-in customer base. Isn't Vanguard more stable? I don't know in relation to what you meant. I bought GE years ago, did 4-to-1 reverse split. What should I do with it? Yeah, reverse splits are kind of the opposite of a regular split. It means the company is in trouble. General Electric has come back pretty strong. If after the reverse split you didn't average in, then your adjusted cost basis, or the price that you paid for those reverse split adjusted shares, is going to be dramatically higher. One thing I do when a company does a reverse split, if it's a company that I think could possibly recover, a lot of penny stocks do reverse splits, like AMC. Not a big fan of averaging into those. But if it's something like General Electric, where they've been around forever and they're likely going to be around forever, I might at a certain point consider averaging in at the reverse split adjusted price, just to lower my cost basis a little bit, because sometimes after these reverse splits, it can be like, your adjusted price per share is like, $500. Well, it's 158 right now. It might never get to 500. But it is up 24% in the last year. They've reinstated a dividend, although it's very, very small. I can't tell you what to do. This is for Louisiana Boy. I can't give you financial advice, so I can't tell you what to do. It's a decision you're going to have to make on your own. Nazar says, SMCI, can we invest? Going to 1,500. Anyone can invest in anything you want. Supermicro Computer, I believe, is being added to the S&P 500. They rebalance every once in a while, and they'll add or take away companies. So Supermicro is going to be added to the S&P 500. That means if you missed out on this run and you think it could go higher, but you don't yet own it, if you have an S&P 500 in your portfolio, you are going to now have SMCI in your portfolio through the fund. If you don't want to buy it at $900 a share, that's completely understandable. This is very volatile stock. A couple of months ago, it was $300. It shot up to $1,000 almost overnight. Then it dumped to $700. Now it's back up to $1,000. It's very volatile. So am I going to chase after this? Am I going to buy it? Look, maybe it does go to $1,500, but it's $900 a share. How many shares are you buying? One, and it goes to $1,500 from $900, so you've made $600. I mean, that's fine. It's a good amount of money, but is it worth the risk at something that's $900 to make $600? What if this thing goes to $300? Then you can see those you can see your principal investment get wiped out. That's why I don't touch stocks this expensive, especially that have had, it's up 787% in the last 12 months. When I see something like that, I go, there's going to be others. I'm not trying to chase after this one. It's okay that I missed out on it. User 355 says DraftKings is solid because more states are beginning to legalize sports betting. What do you think about Moderna? mRNA is Moderna. Let's see here. It's got a couple of, it's down 29%. They don't have a dividend. Hey, ambitious. Thanks for the heart. Wall Street gives it, let's see here. There are 27 analysts covering Moderna. Of those 27, 11 give it a strong buy. 4 give it a regular buy. 9 recommend you hold it. 1 sell and 2 strong sells. I think they got hit a little bit hard after COVID, when it was like, oh, they have this vaccine for COVID, and everyone rushed into it, and then it was like, well, now that everyone's vaccinated or chose not to, and COVID looks like it's on the decline. Now what have you got? And I think that's causing some issues right now. The headline here says Moderna is counting on the pipeline too much. I just posted a video the other day on biotech stocks, going over the risk of something like this headline that says the pipeline. They've got too much in the pipeline. They're working on a lot of drugs, but maybe they don't get approved. Maybe the trials take too long. Maybe they run out of funding. Maybe a competitor comes out with something quicker. So there's a lot of risks. I'm looking into DEC. What are your thoughts? I've never heard of it. Diversified Energy Company pays a 28% dividend. What are they doing here? It's down 50% last year. That's a big no for me. I mean, I don't care if the stock has a 30% dividend if the stock is down 50%. Usually when you see a very high dividend in a stock that's $12 and is down 52%, that's a bad sign. They don't even have a dividend safety grade. They've grown their dividend 66% in the last 5 years, which is super suspicious to me. I don't know anything about this company. Let's see here. It's an independent owner and operator of natural gas and oil wells. Never heard of it. How are you trading on the TD platform? I use Thinkorswim. It's their platform. This is a question from Michael R. Clark. I use Thinkorswim. That's how I trade. If you're asking what my method for trading is, it's something called the Darvis Box method. You can Google him, or you can click on the link in my bio. It's a link tree. It'll take you to an Amazon store where there is his book. It's $5. This guy didn't invent momentum investing or trading, but he kind of like put it on the map with this book. Noticing that stocks that are hitting new all-time highs usually have a period of people piling into the stock. And so contrary to what you hear, like buy low, sell high, right? Everyone says buy low, sell high. This guy was saying, no. You look for where the momentum is and you ride that wave until it reverses course and then you get out of the trade. Typically what you hear is when people are saying, oh, once you start hearing everyone talking about a stock, it's a good time to exit. This guy was saying, no. I'm going to get in very quickly for a very quick trade. I'm going to ride that momentum. Everyone's talking about it. It'll pull back for a little. And then if it continues to pull back, I won't make the trade. And if it pulls back for a little and then rebounds and surpasses the previous high, then I'm in. And that's how he used to do it. And that's what I've done for the last 13 years, and it's worked for me. Margot, good morning. Heather says, what is the best way to start? I know that's a question you probably have answered, but I'm new here. Heather, it's a question that I get asked probably 70 times a week. But that's why I'm here. My pinned videos will help you. There's a pinned video on this TikTok account that says new to investing, do this. It depends on the kind of account you want. If you're investing for retirement, then you would want either a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, depending on your income. If you're not interested in that and you just open an individual account, you'll be taxed. But whatever. If you're being taxed, it means you're making money. And then I would start with the foundation first, which is an S&P 500 index fund. But I would watch that video that's for new investors. That's the best way to start. Where are my NVIDIA bears at? Not here. I think NVIDIA is going to go higher. Can you show us your full portfolio, not the money, just your holdings? No, I don't do that. This is a channel for teaching people. This is a question for Ace, by the way. I don't share my portfolio because this isn't a channel of copy me. This is a channel of I'm going to teach you how to do this so you don't have to copy strangers on the internet. What I picked for me maybe was best for me 10 years ago. As you can see, I purchased WWE in 1999. I purchased Apple in 2003 and 2009 and 2012. I purchased Facebook or Meta in 2012. I purchased Tesla in 2016. So these are stocks that I picked a long time ago. They're already up a lot. Showing you my portfolio, you might see that I'm in a stock that's up like NVIDIA and go, oh, well, he has it, I'm going to buy it now. Well, hold on. It's already had a massive run. So it teaches you nothing. So I don't share my portfolio. SMCI going to 1300. Nazar, a few minutes ago, you said it was going to 1500. What happened? Now it's 1300. Is NVIDIA a good buy right now? This is a question you have to ask yourself. NVIDIA is a semiconductor company that is focusing on chips for smart technology. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you think we've peaked in terms of our technology, or do you think it's going to improve over the next 20 or 30 years? Do you think, look, we have smart light bulbs, smart TVs, smart microwaves, we have smart cars, smart watches, smart phones. Everything that we have is smart. Do you think it will continue to get smarter? Do you think we'll have more wearables, the VR headsets? Do you think technology is going to be invented that we don't even know about, that's going to need more semiconductors? If that's your thought, then going into a semiconductor stock, and maybe it's not NVIDIA, maybe you're looking at ARM or AMD or Intel or one of the various others. Maybe you don't know which one to pick and you want an ETF. Then you would go with something like the Van Eck Semiconductor ETF. The symbol is SMH, like you're shaking your head, shaking my head, SMH is a semiconductor specific ETF. So they don't invest in the broad markets. They're not investing in dividend stocks across the board. It's only semiconductors. They have 26 holdings. So in a way, you can just buy all the semiconductor stocks by just buying SMH. Their top holding obviously is NVIDIA. And you can kind of get some clues here by looking at what their top holdings are. So what are they putting the majority of their eggs in one basket? It's NVIDIA. Of the 26 shares, 25% of the portfolio is NVIDIA. So that should give you some clues. Toto is saying sound is good for now. Buy? I assume you mean SoundHound. You can check the video I posted on them a few days ago. Copying trades are a surefire way to get you, to get screwed. Let's just say it. If you see, NVIDIA bought stock in SoundHound, so I'm going to do it. Look at SoundHound over the last 5 days. The stock, it went up 50% into earnings, and then it dumped 19% after earnings because they had a bad earnings report. When you see a company or Nancy Pelosi or someone has bought a stock and you go, well, I'm going to buy it because they did. Usually you're finding out about it weeks or months later. And the move has already been priced in. They already bought the shares. You're not going to see like a bounce. Usually you see the opposite, right? Like everyone finds out and then the stock dumps. NVIDIA wasn't buying SoundHound stock for a quick day trade. NVIDIA was buying it as an investment for the next 10 or 20 years. So NVIDIA doesn't care. They bought it and then it went down 18%. But new investors are looking at it going, NVIDIA bought it. They must know something. Not always. That's how I feel about Ethereum. VTSAX thoughts. VTSAX, this is for Cindy. Hello, Cindy. It is a total stock market fund. I don't like total stock market funds, to be honest with you. It holds 3,749 companies. So some people's, their thought process is, I don't know what to buy. I'm just going to buy everything. By the way, this is a mutual fund. The alternative would be VTI, which is an ETF. The reason I don't like this is that it underperforms an S&P 500 index fund by around 11%. Some people look at it like, well, I have everything. That's good. But my thought is there's a lot in there that's garbage. And an S&P 500 index fund that has 506 or 508 companies in it, there's a lot of underperformers when you have 3,700 companies. Some can do well, but the majority won't, and it'll drag down performance. And you can see it's down around 11% compared to an S&P 500 index fund. VTSAX is up 157% in the last 10 years, and SPLG, for example, is up 171%. So it's got, that's why I don't like them. Didn't TD get purchased by Schwab? Yes, they did, but they're keeping Thinkorswim. They're keeping Thinkorswim, so I'm staying with Schwab. If I was a retail investor and I just had a portfolio, I think the Schwab website sucks. I would probably go to BBAE or Fidelity or something like that. But you know, but I need Thinkorswim. I mean, I like Thinkorswim. They all have their own trading platform, by the way. Fidelity has one as well, but I'm used to Thinkorswim and I like it, and it's just not worth it for me to switch. Mo Montanero says, good morning back. I don't know how to pronounce the first part of your name, but it's Legend74. New versus SoFi. I own both long term. What are your thoughts? Luckily for you, there's a video that I posted last week, so you might have to scroll down a little bit on this very question, new versus SoFi. So you can go find that video if you want. If you can't find it, you can message me and I'll tag you in it. Perception is Reality asks about Viking Therapeutics. It is $85 a share. It is up 648% in the last year. Let's write this one down on the list too so I can look at it later. VKTX. Year to date, remember, the year just started in January, is already up 358%. That's insane. It's a biotech stock. And this is kind of what we were talking about here. So they have some sort of weight loss drug is coming and other catalysts on tap is the headline. I just posted a video a few days ago about biotechnology stocks and the risks involved. When there's an illness or a disease or something that they're trying to cure, and they say that they've developed something and it's going into testing and it's working, they pile into the stock and it can have these massive moves. At this point, it's already priced in. They're already anticipating that this company is going to do well. They're already anticipating that the earnings are going to be strong, that the pill is going to be successful or whatever. It's already up 648%. When the news comes out, whatever the news is, that it's either it's got FDA approval or it's got regulatory approval or the clinical trials are over and it was a great success, you know, I don't foresee this thing going up that much more dramatically. I could be wrong, but you know, I think it's already been priced in, already up 650%. Their grades are fantastic. Wall Street gives it a uniform strong buy. There are 10 buys, 0 holds, 0 sells. You know, I don't know if I want to pile into something that's already up 600% though. What is your favorite new growth stock? I don't think I have one. I mean, probably NVDA, which I purchased 2 years ago. I still think they have room to go. But you know, people are always thinking that like investors are always buying new growth companies. I've got what I need. I'm not like always on the hunt for the next big growth thing. And nothing's really come to has crossed my radar in a way that has really made me go, oh, I think this is going to be the next big winner. At least not yet. Paul Jones, thank you for the follow. Is Robinhood safe? I've been using since 2015. Yeah, I think most brokerages are probably safe. Robinhood got into some big trouble during the Wall Street Bets Reddit GameStop thing where they kind of restricted trades because they didn't want to have like a run on their bank and run out of money because everyone was they were gonna have to cover all their positions and they didn't want to do that, so they restricted selling. Something like that. But I think Robinhood is safe for most retail investors. I think the problem was that there were so many people buying it and shorting it, GameStop, that they ran into liquidity issues. If you're just a regular investor with a couple index funds, you're fine. How is Bets? It's 150% short. Let's take a look. Bets is... I don't touch penny stocks. I don't know what this company is. Someone asked about it, I think, the other day. BitBrother, it's let's see here. There's literally no information on the stock here on Seeking Alpha. It's down 99%. I wouldn't go near it. I don't know why anyone would. What do you think of Uber for a long-term play? I think Uber is going to be fine. It's Uber and Lyft. They've got the market pretty cornered. It's up 145% already this year. I think it probably has more upside potential. The one-year price target from the analysts is 85, so a 5.5% upside. But there are 51 analysts covering it. 31 give it a strong buy, 15 give it a buy, and 5 give it a hold, no sells. So I think that Wall Street is pretty bullish on this one. And by the way, the fact that there are, how many did I say? 51 analysts covering it, and it's overwhelmingly all of them are recommending you buy it. I think it's pretty bullish signal to me. I don't own it though. What do you chart with? I use TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim, which is now Schwab's Thinkorswim. What about micro futures? I don't like micro futures, or I don't know anything about futures, and I don't know anything about micro futures. Why don't they like Schwab? I just think their website is different, and it's a lot harder to find. Like, one of my accounts got moved over, and I went on and I looked at the website, and I was just like, how do I find this? Where's that? It's just, it's just getting used to a new website, but it's so different. It just doesn't look as clean. It looks kind of like whatever, like they just opened it and kind of forgot about it. And then Asa says he's getting used to Schwab. Sell or hold PayPal. I don't give financial advice, so I can't tell you. What do you think about Vera? Don't know. Vera Therapeutics. Man, the therapeutics are a hot one today. Everyone's asking about therapeutics. It has a 1-year price target of 31. I think that's just an old high price target that they've passed. It's up 568% last year, 219% this year. Their grades are a little bit mixed. Valuation is a D, growth is a B plus, profitability is a D plus, momentum is an A plus, revisions is a D. It's got a couple holds, mostly those strong buys, 7 strong buys with, like I said, average price target of 31, but the highest price target is 50 currently. But I don't know anything about it. ZS went down off earnings. Thoughts. That's the Zscaler company. I don't know anything about it, just the name. They are a system software information technology stock. It went down 9% after earnings, I guess, but year to date it's down, but last year it went up 70%. Let's see. Their grades are fantastic, with the exception of their valuation being at a D minus. Growth is an A, profitability is A minus, momentum is an A, revisions A plus. Let's see the 1-year price targets. There are, 42 analysts covering the stock, 25 strong buys, 6 buys, 11 holds, no sells. Average price target, $257. It's currently $219. Are you in Canada? No, I'm in the United States. What do you think about real income right now? Young Lou, I assume you mean Realty Income, the real estate investment trust. It's generally seen as one of the best dividend real estate investment trusts on the market. It's down a lot. It got hammered last year. It went down 17%. They have a dividend of 5.89% that pays monthly. I really like that it pays monthly. It's monthly passive income. I have a video. I haven't posted it yet on a couple of real estate investment trusts, some new, some that you're familiar with. The reason I like Realty Income is because they're not in office spaces and they're not in downtown like retail storefronts. They're in big box stuff like Costco's, UPS stores, AMC's, gyms, movie theaters, like I said, 7-Elevens, pharmacies. So they are in stuff that people are always going to use no matter what. So that's what I think of them. What are you most concerned about? This is from Michael R. Clark. I'm most concerned about the upcoming election. But even still, not really. In my opinion, I don't think Wall Street really cares who the president is, as long as they have an 8-year term. If Wall Street doesn't like uncertainty, so whether they liked Donald Trump or they hated him is kind of irrelevant. He's going to come in and he's going to say, I'm president and I plan on being president for 8 years and here's what I plan on doing. And then Wall Street can go, got it. Now we can adjust how we're going to do things to maybe avoid taxes or price hikes or whatever they do, they can forecast a little bit better when he starts laying out policies. But then he loses. He's 1 term. Wall Street doesn't like that. Now there's going to be another election with a new president maybe coming in and he's going to have, different policies, and now it's happening again. So I think that creates a little bit of uncertainty in Wall Street, usually not during the election year. So usually when the markets are up, whoever is in the White House gets reelected. That's just how it's been more often than it's not been. So markets are up. We're at all-time highs, which means, according to Wall Street, I think it's like 70% likelihood that Biden will be reelected. Wall Street will be happy with that, not because they like Joe Biden or they don't like Joe Biden, but just because the policies remain the same and they can continue doing what they're doing. But I do worry about Trump getting elected because I think he'll scrap a lot of stuff like infrastructure. I think he'll scrap a lot of stuff like the green energy stuff that's good for electric vehicles and charging stations. Whether people like it or not is a different topic. Pay stock any good? A lot of people asking about, well, are you talking about PayPal? This is for funds 10x. Are you talking about Paymentus or are you talking about PayPal? Because I've got a bunch of people asking me about PayPal this morning. Paymentus I've never heard of. They're up 77% this year. They don't offer a dividend. They have an overall hold rating on the stock with average price target of $17, and it's currently almost $16. So they're not seeing a lot of growth here. Of the 8 analysts, 1 gives it a buy, 7 give it a hold. Let's see what they do here. It says transaction payments processing. I think there's a lot of competition now, and this is a company I've never heard of. Let's see here. Hello. The company offers electronic bill presentment and payment services, but I think a lot of companies are already doing this. So unless they're in like a very unique sector that's going to use them a lot, you know, there's already stuff like Toast for restaurants and Apple Pay and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure if there's room for another one, but I could be wrong. Appreciate all the information and breakdowns of the stocks you do and how you do your own research. Buster, thank you so much. Harry Penchel says VOO, XLK, VYMO. Is this diverse enough? Well, VOO is an S&P 500 index fund. I think that's a good foundation for everybody. XLK is a very highly rated tech-focused ETF. VYM, I think, is dividends, right? It is a Vanguard high dividend fund, and then Realty Income. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, I think you're diversified enough. You've got S&P 500 for broad market exposure, XLK for tech focus, VYM for dividends, and Realty Income for real estate. I like it. Will says, thank you, bro. You're welcome. What should I put $2,000 into? This is for Brady. Brady, if you're new here and you don't know what to invest in, I always think an S&P 500 index fund is the best place to start. It is boring. It is for the rest of your life. You're not going to see massive gains immediately, but that's how you want it. You want to start small, stay consistent, and then once you get more comfortable with the markets, then you can start looking at different individual stocks. The mistake is people come to me and they go, yo, I've got $2,000. I want to get really rich really fast. Give me something. Wrong mindset. I don't touch those kind of questions. Other people on TikTok do. People will say, hey, I got 2,000. What should I buy? And then some influencer will say, oh, how about this stock? And then they go and they buy it and the stock goes down 60%. And the person who bought it is screwed. And they go back to the guy and they're like, yo. And the guy's like, well, it wasn't financial advice. It was just what I like or whatever. Not good. Just index funds. Start with the boring stuff. Is now a good time to get into Magnificent Seven or should I wait? It's hard to say with the Magnificent Seven. These stocks are up dramatically over the last couple of years. The question is, will they continue to grow or will they pull back? Nobody knows. One option, this is for Joe LO 479. If you don't know what to do, waiting usually is not a good idea. It just means that it's more time away from a stock that could be growing. Of course, you could, hey, thank you for it says the first gift. No one yet has given me a gift in this live, and Bob the Fish is the first one to do it. So thank you, Bob. One option when you don't know what's going to happen is you can start small. You don't have to buy your whole position today. Hey, well, now everyone's sending gifts. Thank you. You want some skin in the game in case things can go a little bit higher. But what if it drops? So let's say you want 100 shares of a company. Don't buy 100 right now. Buy 25. And then if the markets drop, you can buy another 25. And if the markets go up, oh well, at least you got your 25 shares. And then you can then wait for a dip because now you've got some skin in the game. Or it can go higher and you go, oh man, I think things are going higher. I'm going to buy another 25 at a higher price. I've done that. I'm going to read it to you right now because I think you might be interested to hear. Most people on this app only want to buy when things are down. You can also buy when things are going up. So I'm going to read my NVDA purchases to you. In September of 2022, I bought it NVIDIA at 125. In October of 2022, I bought it at 122. And then a few days later, also in October of 2022, I bought more at 110. Then I bought more in March of 2023 at 226. Then I bought more in June of 2023 at 389. Then I bought more also at the end of June at 360. Then in August of 2023, I bought more at 455. September of 2023, I bought more at 413. And then in December of 2023, September and December, in September I bought at 380, and then in December I bought at 400. So I'm buying at every price point in NVIDIA. I don't care if it's higher or lower. I want more. I'm buying it at a higher price. Do you own Bitcoin? Yes, I do own Bitcoin, and I like it. Okay, I got up, so I'm at Perception is Reality's VKTX ones. We already answered, so I'm going to go all the way bottom, work my way back up. What do you think the price target of NVIDIA will be at the end of the year? And I'm going to read Andrew's because I just saw it pop on. By the way, if you're asking a question, I work from bottom all the way up to the previous question that I answered, and then I go back down. Stay here. It says, if you ask a question, I will respond. Please don't leave. You don't have to spam the chat 50 times. This isn't a pre-recording. I try to get to everyone and give everyone their fair chance at an answer. So sometimes we'll talk a little bit about a stock, and I'll go to the next one. I try to be quick, though, as quick as I can be. Andrew was saying, do you sell your Meta stock? No. I sold Meta stock one time. I don't want to say I regret it because selling it allowed me to pay my home, buy it in cash. I paid off my home through selling some stock in WWE, Apple, Meta, Tesla, and a couple other things. And that allowed me to buy my home, no mortgage, done. So do I regret selling the Facebook stock? I sold it, I think, in the 180s. That was when I bought my home many years ago. No, because I got something out of it. I have a home. I own it now, free and clear. On the other hand, I had a lot of shares, and now it's $502. But I never sold the whole position, and I don't like selling the whole position. I know people always say, should I sell here? Hey, if you're nervous, if you have a huge profit in something, and you want to take some money off the table, Facebook is up 190% in the last year. It's up 42% this year. If you've got hundreds and hundreds of shares, maybe you sell 100 shares or 200 shares, you take some profits off the table, you use that to buy new companies or other investments or index funds for your retirement, or you go on a nice vacation or something like that. But I'm not a big advocate or fan of selling my entire position unless I think something is wrong with the company. All right, what do you think? Price target NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA will definitely be over $1,000 by the end of the year. Their 1 year price target is 890 is the average. But it is currently 822. The highest price target is 1,400. A year ago, their price target was 1,000 after they had really good earnings and issued really good guidance for the next couple of quarters or the next year. All the analysts raised their price target from 1,000 to 1,200, 1,400, which is where it currently is. Will it hit 1,400? As a shareholder, I sure hope so, but I wouldn't bank on it. My husband keeps talking about Solana. I own Solana and I like Solana, but I'm not a crypto account, so I don't really speak too much to the things that I don't really fully understand. But if you're interested, I can tag some of my I can send you to some of my favorite crypto content creators on this platform, and sometimes they join me and we go live together. Bob the Fish, dang, you cleaned up on NVIDIA. Yeah, and I did well in NVIDIA, and I also wasn't afraid to buy into the momentum because I saw the stock going higher. So I bought it at 125, and then I bought it in the 200s, in the 300s, in the 400s. And if it would dip into the 380s, I'd buy more. I haven't purchased any since then. Let's see, my last purchase from NVIDIA was December 28th at $400 even. I bought it at exactly $400 a share. And that was my last NVIDIA purchase. I don't have any plans currently to buy more, but wait and see, I guess. Yo, you see Solana? No, I didn't. What's Solana doing? Solana crypto. I own Solana, so I should be keeping an eye on it. Let's see. It's 129. I don't know what that means because I don't know what it was. I don't even keep an eye on my crypto. My crypto accounts are up 55% this month. That's insane, right? Oh, we're looking at a 24-hour price change. How do I change it to monthly? No, I don't know. Are you a swing trader, day trader? Toto, row, yes, both. I started as a swing trader When Trump got elected and the markets were going like this every day, I said, oh, I'm not swing trading here. This is too volatile. I'm going to day trade instead. Those were my best 4 years ever. I did very well as a swing trader, but day trading somehow, it worked for me. I liked it a lot better. Now that the markets have kind of cooled off a little, they're still volatile and they're still going up, but we're hitting all-time highs. We're not seeing these daily massive swings like we did in the previous administration. And you add in also all the COVID uncertainty too. I'm not blaming it all on Trump, but a lot of it was the COVID uncertainty. But the markets were just like this. Now they're kind of like that. Swing trading works best for me in that kind of climate. In more volatile markets, day trading works best for me. What is your personal view on SoundHound? I posted a video on SoundHound a few days ago. My personal view is just because NVIDIA bought it for the long term doesn't mean that they know something and that it's a secret and like they're getting in on the stock now before something big happens. I think they're just looking at the technology and they go, oh, this is something we want to be a part of. Let's make a little investment. I wouldn't look any deeper than that. I think a lot of people heard NVIDIA bought it and their earnings are coming out. NVIDIA knows something. And those people got crushed because SoundHound dumped 19% after earnings. So if you bought it the day of earnings or the day before earnings, you're probably sitting on a 20%, close to 20% loss right now. And that sucks. If you are buying it as a long-term investor, then you don't care. Let's see here. Good morning. Hey, Coco is in here. Good morning. Hello, Coco. Your advice is valuable. Thank you. Ambitious gave me a gift. Thank you for your gift. I always appreciate it. I think maybe it said first-time gift giver. Maybe it was a first-time gift giver. Maybe it wasn't the first gift in the live. Are you still a wrestler? No. Unfortunately, I broke my back on the very first day of class, so I never even became a wrestler. Where do you like to read the analyst at? So TD Ameritrade has a lot of good analysts on their website. When you look up a stock, there's like a whole tab that says, reports and ratings, and you can click and read through the analyst reports. I would assume that Schwab has something very similar. Let me see if I can log into my my Schwab account. I don't even know if I have my, here it is. They want to confirm my identity. I'll do that later. Seeking Alpha has some analyst reports, but I'm not so big of a fan of the analysts on Seeking Alpha, just because anyone can write an article on that website and say, like, here's my opinion, which is cool. Anyone can write an article. Great. But you're getting opinions from people who are maybe professionals and maybe not. Crypto Machinery. What happened to Crypto Wendio? Isn't she one of your friends? Yes. What do you mean what happened? Did something happen to her? I don't know. Thoughts on Carvana? I don't know. They got very popular during the last couple of months on social media, and then the stock tanked. Let's see. It went up. Let's see. It went up. Did they have like a split or something? Let me look. I felt like the stock was much higher. No, they didn't split. Okay, they hit over $300 a share, and then it dumped. So the stock was in the 80s in 2020. At the peak of COVID around 2021, it hit 359 shares, and now it's 80 again. I think it just got carried away with like the used car market being really explosive during COVID because people couldn't get cars because of supply chain issues and stuff like that. So they were relying on Carvana. Carvana had some issues, and the stock tanked. Let's see here. Wall Street. It's currently 82 a share. It has a 1-year price target of 55. I wouldn't, not for me. Dripped VOO all year, never regretted it. Love it. What is your take on Google? I think Google is going to be fine. I mean, they generate most of their money through advertising, and they sell a lot of advertising. It has a 1-year price target of $164, which is around 19%. Of the 58 analysts who cover it, 31 strong buys, 14 buys, and 13 holds. I mean, it's Google. How can you, I don't want to say how can you bet against it, because anything can happen to any stock, but it's Google. SoundHound, what do you think? We've talked about SoundHound. We've talked about Google. What do you think about shipping stocks? I think a lot of people are burned on shipping stocks after Zim, the Israeli shipping container company that had like a 100% dividend, and then eliminated their dividend and the stock tanked. So I think going forward, I mean, Star Bulk Carriers, let's see, that's SBLK, right? They have a 6% dividend. It's much more modest. You know, it's not a 90% dividend like Zim. It says that they have 0 years of dividend growth and a C- dividend. Let's see the other ones. Frontline, I don't know. Frontline Shipping, is that what it would be? Frontline, is it FRO? Oil and gas transportation. They have a 12% dividend, and their grades are fantastic across the board. Frontline, I'm going to write that down on my little list as well. They have a dividend safety grade of C+, but they have a valuation of A+, growth of B+, profitability of A-, momentum of A-, revisions of A-. I mean, these guys are like on the honor roll, you know? I mean, that's a really good set of grades there. It has a 1-year price target of almost $27. That's 19% upside. There are there are 9 analysts covering the stock. 6 give it a buy or a strong buy, and 3 recommend you hold it. I like it. I don't own it though. Let's take a look here at their earnings. Also, sorry about my itchy nose, but we're dog sitting and I am allergic to dogs. Let's see. Revenue's kind of all over the map. In 2021, it was 749 million. In 2022, it was 1.4 billion. In 2023, it was 1.8 billion. Then they're projected to go down to 1.5 billion in 2024, and then back up to 1.73 billion in 2025 are their projections. What is your thought about Reddit's IPO? I just posted a video on Reddit's IPO a couple days ago, so you can go check it out and watch it. Thoughts on Google? You guys, you don't have to ask the same question 80 times. I do go through the live, and I'll go through all the comments and try to catch everything that I can. Synopsys, I've never heard of. Synopsys. SNPS, never heard of this company. It's $591 a share. Their grades are pretty consistent and strong across the board. They have a 1-year price target of $625. It's 5% upside. Is Seeking Alpha good for Canadians? Missy, I have no idea. I don't know. I would assume that they have some sort of Canadian option, because when I type in stocks, like I can see, I can type in I can see like the Canadian alternatives when you type in like a colon and then CA next to the stock or the ETF that you're looking at. So I would assume maybe they have some sort of Canadian account or page, but I don't know. What is your take on Google stock? Man, I saw it. We answered Google. We talked about Google. We are at all-time high because Wall Street is betting on Trump. I would say the opposite of that. I don't think they're betting on Trump. What are you on to get this information? It's Seeking Alpha. SoundHound, I just posted a video about SoundHound a few days ago. I think you can go find it. It's probably like 10 videos back or somewhere like that. Hopefully we won't go through Trump again. I agree, even though I don't talk about politics on here. Altimmune, I've never heard of. Altimmune. I'm sorry, I don't see that anywhere. I was looking at Apple. Should I invest in Apple? I can't tell you what to invest in. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy in my pajamas talking about what I've learned through the stock market. So, you have to ask yourself, do you think Apple will continue to innovate over the next 30 years? I'm not talking about now. People think, oh, they've peaked. Their phone, their watch, their iPad. We get it. But do you think that in the next 20 years, they'll still just be focusing on the phone, the iPad, and the watch? Or do you think they'll have other things in the pipeline? My bet is that they've got things that we can't even imagine yet. And they're going to come out with it maybe in 10 years or 15 years. Nobody knows. I think their headset is going to be huge over time. I think at first people are going to make fun of it, like you've seen on TikTok, people walking around on the streets in New York City. That was a fad. That was just people doing it for fun to get views. I don't think that's going to happen yet, but maybe when the wearables get smaller, like an actual pair of glasses, like the Google Glass that failed or the Snapchat lenses that failed, maybe Apple will then be able to do it once it becomes more popular. Trump will be king and reign forever, and his sons will inherit America. God, I hope not. That would be a nightmare. Monopar Therapeutics, MNPR. MNPR is 90 cents. I don't mess with penny stocks. My advice for penny stocks, I can't give advice, but I would say put in what you're willing to lose and only what you're willing to lose. Do you think PLTR will enter the S&P within the next month or two? I don't know. I didn't even know if they were or weren't in it. Let's see here. Palantir has carved out a unique niche for AI-driven data analytics. After a concerted effort, they are now profitable. Admission into the S&P would unlock more growth. That's the headline. Palantir has been one of the top AI stocks due to its prowess in artificial intelligence, data-driven analytics. It's more than doubled. It was founded in 2003. Blah, 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 blah. The company is generating solid growth. Revenue is up 17%, blah, blah, blah. In order to gain entry into the S&P 500, a company must be headquartered in the U.S. and have a GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, profit of at least 4 quarters. In addition, a majority of the shares outstanding must be available to purchase by the public and to buy and sell. And the company must have a market cap of at least $14.5 billion in order to make the S&P's threshold for large cap stocks. So they need to have a market cap of $14.5 billion. And they're currently at $55 billion. So, it's probably likely at some point, maybe, I don't know. How do I get a research guide? Hey, dog, if you're still in here, go on my website. It's kennethsuna.com. It's my first name, my last name, kennethsuna.com. Click on the menu. I can't believe I have to say this, but the menu is those 3 little bars. It's either going to be down here on your phone or up here on your computer. Click on the menu. A sidebar will pop open. It'll have my free resource guide. It's totally free. It's all the links that I use to do my own research, like Seeking Alpha and MarketWatch and all the other websites. There's no PayPal to unlock it. There's no Venmo. There's no put in your email and I'll send you it. And then I got your email and I can spam you. None of that. It's just on the website for free. There's also templates on the website so you can do your own research and fill in templates and stuff like that. Upcoming election, aren't we all? Oops, what did I do here? Your thoughts on TSLY? Super, super, super high risk. We talk about TSLY a lot in here. It's got strong sells across the board. It's down 46%. I think Tesla has a lot of competition right now, and I don't think Tesla is going to be as volatile as they once were. So I own TSLY, and I no longer reinvest the shares into TSLY's fund. So I'm not I'm not like using dividend reinvestment. I'm just taking the cash and putting it into index funds or other stocks that I like. How do we find the next leader like NVDA? I wish I knew because we'd all be in it. I think we have to just pay attention to the markets, to the economy, to what people's demands are, and look for new. Usually the biggest gainers are tech. So you have to keep your eyes open to new technologies and start thinking. Like when I bought NVIDIA a couple of years ago, I bought it because I was looking around and I was noticing everything was smart. Smart light bulbs, smart microwaves, smart dishwashers, smart cars, smartphones, smart watches. Everything was big, smart TVs. And I was like, damn, how are they making these things so smart? So I got on the internet and I looked and it was like, oh, they have to use semiconductors and chips to make all this technology. And I went, who makes semiconductors? And I went on Google and who makes semiconductors? And a list of companies came up and NVIDIA was one of them. And at the time they were working with Apple. And I said, that's all I need to know. Boom. And I started purchasing NVIDIA. That's how it happened for me. So you got to keep your ears and eyes open. Sometimes you'll see like, another, I guess, example would be the gym that I go to is full of college kids. And there's a refrigerator right next to the front desk when you walk in. It's full of energy drinks. It has every energy drink: Red Bull, Monster, C4, Ghost, Celsius. What do all the college kids grab every single time? Celsius. Every time. Celsius. So I started watching. I go, God, every person in this gym is grabbing the Celsius. The Monster, the Bang, the Red Bulls, they're always stacked. No one's touching them. Maybe I should be investing in Celsius. Now, I didn't do it, but that's just one example of keeping your eyes open. New York Food Blog, one of my favorite food channels. If you are if you're interested in food, you got to follow New York Food Blog. He's in the comments somewhere. If he's still in here, you can comment again so you can all follow. I love food and I love New York City. Is your portfolio more tilted towards ETFs or stocks or equal weight of both? My portfolio is almost entirely all individual stocks. That's just what I'm comfortable with as an investor. For most new investors, I think index funds are the way to go. Most new investors aren't interested in combing through earnings and looking at analyst reports and researching and what's the price to earnings and how much revenue and what's their net income. Most people don't care about that. They just want a couple of index funds. That's why one of my pinned videos is on a 3-fund approach. that gives you a good exposure to a variety of index funds, and you can set it and forget it. If you are the type who wants individual stocks, you could do 50-50. It's whatever's best for you. How do you feel about iron condors? I don't trade options. Mr. Gamify English, your biggest loss. My biggest loss was Jones Soda, 99%. 99%. Hey, Jonathan Judas is in here. Can you send me your guide? No, I'm not going to send it to you, but you can find it. It's on my website. This is for Swanee22. It's kennethsuna.com. It's my first name and my last name. You can go on my website, click on the menu. You'll find my free resource guide, and you will find other free things there as well, like templates. How do you feel about iron condors? I don't mess with options. Do you think there will be another recession? Yes, there's always going to be another recession. For me, I get my pen and paper out and I write down my wish list of the stocks that I want to buy. And if there is a recession, I go crazy. If there isn't, I'm still investing anyway, so it doesn't matter. Do you think NVIDIA will have a stock split soon? Yes, I do. I think probably within the next few years. Dogecoin thoughts, I couldn't tell you. SMCI, we've already talked about. DNA is something that someone is asking about. Ginkgo Bioworks, I don't mess with penny stocks, so I couldn't tell you. PanW, we've already talked about. Technical analysis, I have playlists on here and YouTube for technical analysis. My live will end in 1 minute if I don't drag the piece of the puzzle into the other puzzle. Verification complete, I did it. Okay, let me go to the bottom now. Is NVIDIA overvalued? Yes. Do you think we'll have another recession? Julio, I just answered that question. Yes, of course we will have another recession. We always have recessions. They happen every couple of years. It's not a reason to sell your shares. If anything, it's a reason to run in and buy more, especially if you're in high quality. I don't want to hear I sold because I thought a recession was coming. You're going to get it wrong more than you're going to get it right. Last year, all these finance bros on this app who were like 20 years old were like, oh, a recession is coming, and they sold all their investments, they sold all their stock, and the markets went up 20%. And, hey, fine, if they want to do it for themselves, do whatever you want. The problem is they had large audiences of people who were new investors, and those new investors either sold their shares or they didn't invest in the first place, and they missed out on a 22% rally in the markets, all because they were listening to some 20-year-old on TikTok talk about the stock market. Which, I appreciate. I love the new investors who are coming in and saying, hey, this is my channel, I'm 20, I'm learning, and we can all learn together. But sometimes they spook people and people dump their shares or don't get started. You don't have to buy your whole portfolio today. You can start small. Steph says, I have 100,000 for 10 years. What index funds should I invest in? Check the pinned video on my page that says new to investing, do this. And also check out the playlist that says how to invest by amount. I've got playlists on everything. There are playlists on how to invest by age, how to invest by amount, dividends, REITs. I got it covered. And there is a playlist on how to invest by amount. What are AI stocks, artificial intelligence, Palantir, Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft? These are companies that are investing in artificial intelligence. C3AI, UiPath are other ones. And Palantir also invests in artificial intelligence. You can check my speculative playlist. There are some videos in there on artificial intelligence. Everyone had a niche stock, as I'm finding. I've been researching. ETF or mutual fund for S&P. I just posted a video a few days ago. You might have to scroll back a little to find it on the difference between mutual funds and ETFs. I like ETFs. There's really not that much of a difference. There are some differences, but an S&P 500 mutual and an S&P 500 ETF are basically the same. The only difference is you can only sell your mutual fund once per day when the market closes because it only prices one time per day versus an ETF that trades all day. Do you like Supermicro? We've talked about Supermicro Computer a lot. I don't own it. I wouldn't buy it at this point. It's up too much, over 700%, wouldn't go near it. Thoughts on Walmart? I like Walmart. I don't own it, but I'm looking at it now that they've had their split. How do you find and invest in index funds? You can use a website like Seeking Alpha and type in any kind of category you're interested in. I just posted a video about this too the other day on how to find ETFs that you're interested in. You literally just go on Seeking Alpha's website and you type in artificial intelligence ETFs and a list will pop up, or bank ETFs and a list will pop up, or oil and gas ETFs and a list will pop up, or retail ETFs and a list will pop up, or technology ETFs and a list will pop up. You can find it all on Seeking Alpha, and then you need a brokerage. NEO I wouldn't mess with. REITs are real estate investment trusts. Like Realty Income is the most popular one around. I have a playlist on REITs as well. Is there a free site to buy crypto? I don't really know. I mean, I use crypto.com and Kraken. I don't think their fees are too expensive, but I don't really know. My thoughts on lithium. If Biden gets reelected and he continues with his green energy, I think lithium will have a better chance of making it. It's how they get the batteries for electric vehicles. And I know people say lithium is bad for the planet too, and everyone's saying fossil fuels are bad and lithium is also bad. But if you're interested in electric vehicles, that's where the batteries come from or are powered by. If you think Trump is going to get reelected, well, he's probably going to cut funding to green energy initiatives. Whether you like it or not is not up for, we're not talking about politics. We're just saying if he gets reelected, it's gone. And a lot of the green energy stocks are going to get crushed. Any REITs? Yes, Realty Income is a great one. That's for that's for NYC Productions. How do you feel about Iron Condors? You asked 97 times and I said I don't trade options. All right, everybody, I got to wrap this live up. There are 53 comments that I didn't get to. ND Patel says, what should I invest? I have 50,000. You can check the investing by amount playlist for some ideas. Let's see. Any thoughts on Rivian? Super high risk right now. I wouldn't go near it. I own some. I'm not averaging in anymore. I'm just going to sit back and wait for a recovery. If it recovers, then I'll buy it at a higher price when I have more peace of mind than just throwing some money in and going, I hope it comes back. Gage, thank you for the roses. What do you think about the new Bitcoin ETF? I'm not a big fan of them. You're basically paying a fee to own something that you can buy yourself and pay no fee, right? Why would you buy an ETF that has a fee of like 0.12 or 0.25? The fees aren't high, but you can just buy your own. That's the way I would do it. Thoughts on Robinhood? For a casual investor, I think it's fine. If you want more resources, I'd go with a major brokerage. Thoughts on Viking Therapeutics, we've already talked about. Apple, we've already talked about. Neo, I don't talk about because I don't know too much about it. Do you know crypto? Yes, but I don't talk about it too much because I don't know too much about it. QYLD, you can check the playlist. Tell you about Kava. It is a fast, casual Mediterranean restaurant that I think will be the next Chipotle. All right, everybody, I got to wrap this up. If I didn't answer your questions, come back on Tuesday or Thursday or next Sunday. I go live every Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday at 10 a.m. Bye, everyone. Thanks for following and have a good day.